Welcome to the Daughter Dearest podcast with Simone and Olivia Knego, making the world a better place one conversation at a time. Mom Simone and daughter Olivia share authentic discussions about everything under the sun, including those things you might be thinking about but feel uncomfortable talking about. Thanks for tuning in. Now here are your hosts, Simone and Olivia.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Daughter Dearest podcast. I'm Simone Knego.
And I'm Olivia Knego. And Happy New Year. We're finally back.
We are
2 weeks late, but we're finally back.
We're finally back. It's been a busy break.
Season,
yeah. We did a lot of traveling. And so we're here to tell you guys about some of the travel that we did and how exciting it was.
Oh, yeah.
And Livy's home for an extra week. Move closer to the microphone.
Oh, I'm not. Oh, well, I was home for a week.
She was home.
I leave tomorrow.
Yeah, she got an extra week at home before going back to school and finishing out her last semester of college. Yay. And then she's doing what?
Law school.
She got into law school.
That's more exciting than finishing my last semester of college. I'm not looking forward to. It's an easy semester. I'm done. My brain's in the Caribbean.
I can tell.
Has been for a couple of years.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if that's a recent thing.
It's been long gone.
Yeah, that's what I kind of feel like. So we had a very exciting trip on many levels.
Oh my God, yeah.
But we went to, I'm
supposed to say it, Antarctica.
We went to Antarctica. And the reason we went to Antarctica is because my mom at 84, this was her final continent. She's been to every other continent except for Antarctica. And Olivia...
it's also my final continent as well. So I'm all done. No, but I was interrupting you. We did the math on this trip. Grandma has been to 97 countries. Yeah. Can you even name 50? I cannot.
Yeah, she's been in 97 countries. My dad used to love to travel.
Honey, she doesn't really like it that much.
No, she doesn't like to travel.
She really does not.
But she would just go along with my dad, which is actually really funny. But that was kind of like, because she is high anxiety, so It is not her thing. But she did it. I mean, she went to 90-something countries. So, yeah. But this was her last continent. And at 21, this was Olivia's last continent. How ridiculous is that?
I was not the youngest person on the ship, by the way, or the trip that we did. So we did, to go to Antarctica off the bat, unless you're like a research person, and even then you still have to take a boat. You have to go on a cruise ship. We did it the smart way, in my opinion, where we did the flying over the Drake Passage rather than going through the Drake Passage. Actually, a couple that I follow on TikTok, they do like their world travel series, and they finally did Antarctica, and they did through the Drake Passage, and I literally could not sit through watching their videos because it was literally like back and forth and you can't do anything. But so we flew from Punta Arenas in Chile. Yeah. So like the literal most southern city in Chile. You cannot access it from other parts of Chile. You have to go through Argentina or fly there. And then we flew to King George Island, which is one of the sub-Antarctic islands that has 3 or 4 research bases on it. Mm-hmm. And from there we boarded a ship that had probably 100 guests.
Yeah, I think they said 126.
And it was all ranges of people. So there was my grandmother at 84, and you'd think she's definitely the oldest. Yeah. But there was a couple of older like couples as well. And there was, I think the youngest was 8 years old, which the staff did say was the youngest they've ever had on the ship.
Yeah, and it is a hard trip. I mean,
it's not a vacation. It's travel. It's not a vacation.
It's travel. So the first thing, so we arrived in Punta Arenas. So we flew from Miami to Santiago and then Santiago to Punta Arenas. Now, when we got to Santiago, as we were going through the airport, like the original plan was Olivia was just going to go with her grandmother. So the two of them did it together. They wouldn't have even made it through the airport.
No, absolutely not.
They couldn't find anything.
Like me and my grandma being like dumb and dumber over here. Like absolutely no way we would have survived.
I'm like, I'm just the cruise ship director because
at this point, yes.
Yeah, they couldn't. They were like, I don't know, where do we go? Do we buy water? I don't know. I was like, what is wrong with you people? Anyway, so we flew into Punta Arenas, which, as Liv said, I don't know if it's the southernmost city, but it is the only place that's where you get that's where you can fly out of to get to King George Island. Yes. And the flight that you take we got on a plane that looked like a penguin, which was very cute.
Like a penguin.
Painted
It's
like a penguin.
called Antarctic Airways.
Yeah.
I'm so interested about how people get that job and like why choose that?
Well, you got to be pretty skilled to be able to fly that route because you can only fly it in certain conditions. We got really lucky on the way there and on the way back. We didn't have to be postponed. The trip before us was postponed an entire day on the way back because the weather was too bad. And so you can't get out then. You just have to stay on the ship for an extra day. So we flew in and you land on a very short gravel runway. So basically you land and the pilot's got to pull back like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, but no problem. Like, no problem.
Fine.
It was actually sunny when we landed. And, but let's take a step back. When we got to the airport that morning, this was the beginning of, I thought like, I think I must have jinxed us, but I thought that by saying this, that I thought we were okay. So my mom is getting out of the bus and she's carrying this big old...
It's also the windiest city. Well, they say it's the windiest city in the world. I think it probably is.
It was hard to walk pushing a roller bag. Like it was blowing you over.
Yeah.
And my mom is like skinny and...
paper thin, if you will.
Yeah. And so we had to like hold her walking across the parking lot because the wind was blowing her over. But anyway, so she's getting out of the bus. And she insists on carrying her bags. After that, we insisted on carrying her bags for her. But she literally, all of a sudden, I get off the bus and then there she is lying on the floor. And I was like, what just happened? She fell down the bus steps out into the street. Now, fortunately, she tucked and rolled. I don't know. She's practicing for her falls.
She said she tucked him and she was very proud of the fact
she was like, I didn't hit my head. That was the jinx right there. So anyways, yeah, she was fine. She got a little bit of cuts on her hands and she was fine. So so we got to Antarctica. We landed on the runway. Then from there, you walk down to the beach. You take these little Zodiac boats and there's penguins everywhere already.
Yes,
like you get there and there's just penguins everywhere and penguin poop everywhere. And so then you get on the Zodiac and then you board the boat. And the boat was beautiful. I mean, it's small, so you're not like thinking like the Royal Caribbean with all the different amenities. It was lovely. It was, there was a beautiful area to sit on the top deck that was, you could go outside if you wanted to, or you could sit in the glass enclosure and you could just see whales and the penguins. And it was really very pretty. What was the name of the boat?
The World Explorer.
Yes, the World Explorer.
Thank you. I remember.
Yeah, I did for a second.
Yeah.
I was just testing you because I didn't remember. Yeah, the World Explorer. And we went with Quark Expedition. So they give you... Now, here was the hard part of the trip for us is that because we were flying the Drake Passage, and obviously when we talk about that plane landing on that runway, you can only bring a bag that's like 20 something pounds.
Yeah, it was tiny.
So you really had to like be able to rewear, or you could pay to wash. So they didn't charge you a lot to wash, but you
wore the same pair of jeans the entire trip, which is like, it's fine.
It's travel. What does it matter? I just saw an ad for something where this woman wore a dress 100 days in a row, traveling the world just to test the dress out. I think she did pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did. So, you saw people get up there and they have these massive suitcases. And they're like, no, did you not read the instructions? Like, I can't tell you how many people didn't read the instructions.
Yeah, I don't understand that because this was not like light travel. I mean, literally it was like the bags, but they made sure to like scare the shit out of you during that first like meeting and orientation about like all the dangerous. So I don't understand how you could go into this without reading the instructions.
I don't know. But anyways, people didn't read the instructions and then they had to get some of their baggage. They had to leave their baggage behind at the hotel, which was fine because on the way back, you stay at the hotel again before you fly out. It gives you that buffer in case you get stuck on the boat an extra day.
Yeah.
So, but it was really amazing. We saw 3 different types of penguins. We saw whales. We saw different kinds of seals. And I think the coolest thing for me, like obviously I love the wildlife and the seals were crazy. Just seeing the glaciers and the icebergs And we got to experience an iceberg calve and then flip over. It was the loudest thing ever.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for like that tidal wave to come knock us over. Luckily, it was just like some waves and it wasn't massive, but I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
This is going to be our end. We're going to get killed by a flipping iceberg. It happens.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Yeah, people died earlier this year on one of these trips.
Yeah,
so.
it's a dangerous thing. Like,
yeah, it's intense.
I mean, we got really lucky. We had like perfect weather conditions until the last day. But most of the trips were not like that. Like that trip was like, oh, maybe I should like go work on like a cruise ship in Antarctica. And I was like, not every day is like that. Like most days you can't see, it's snowing, it's like terrible conditions, the wind, but we just got really, really lucky.
Yeah, we got lucky. Even with that luck, we had a bad thing happen. So we're going out to explore this one island.
This is where the post office is, by the way, in Antarctica, which I don't think we ever sent mail.
I did.
Oh, okay.
We should get something.
In 3 years from now.
Yeah, I know. Whatever. I sent three pieces of mail. I think one home, one to Jacob. I don't know where I sent the third one. I don't know. I sent 3 pieces. I don't know where I sent it to. So we are getting onto this island. And like, typically it was snowing. So I had my camera in my bag. And typically I had my camera out. So I wasn't like so prepared. So we get off the boat and we usually have a lineup where someone's like behind my mom, someone's in front of her. And we just didn't do that. Like, I don't know where my head was, but we didn't do it. And so they asked me to step over to the side so I could put my bag down to get my camera out. So I did. And as I'm pulling my camera out of the bag, my mom goes flying past me down the rocks. So she's literally, I don't know how high up she was, but it was a huge fall. It was, for most people, you would have been broken. I would have been broken. There's no way I wouldn't have broken something on that one. But she hit her head, and that was obviously extremely concerning. And she was lying in a pool of blood. And oh my gosh, I thought, oh, this is it. First, I think like we're going to die by flipping of an iceberg. And then I think that, she's going to die because she just hit her head. I think I just killed my mother by bringing her to Antarctica. Fortunately, she's much tougher than that. But we did go. So we went back to the boat. Olivia and Emma, I had them stay on the island. They brought us back. There was a doctor with us right away on land. There was a doctor with us. So she rode back with us to the boat. And unfortunately, my mom had to get 6 stitches. And I want to say only, but it wasn't an only, but it still was only 6 stitches. It could have been so much worse. And, she definitely had a concussion, but she rallied and she did totally fine. And honestly, when something really bad happens out there, like there's not much you can do because you got to get back to King George Island to get any kind of medical care. And it would take a day and a half. So, thankfully she was okay. And the staff was so nice. And the doctor that sewed up her head was so nice. And it was just really, again, we got very lucky. And I was like, see, I jinxed us. I said, there, you had your fall for the trip when she fell out of the bus, but no.
Well,
and she focused on not hitting her head the first time. Yeah, it is. And you can see how people can get injured there. It's, when you're
not made for humans.
Yeah. And when you're walking around in the areas they allow you to, there's very few areas. They're very particular. When you get on and off the boat, you're washing your boots in a special, oh yeah, there's our picture, in a special formulation to make sure you're not bringing any kind of weird bacteria, introducing anything. Like
they're so specific about invasive species and just like invasive microbes as well, which is awesome. And like, it is truly like the last untouched place on the planet. But they're so specific about it. Yeah.
There's a big problem right now around the world with bird flu. And it hasn't hit down in Antarctica yet. And so they were really hyper focused on staying away from the penguins. And, previously they would let you like sit on the ground to take pictures and stuff like that. And now it's very specific. You have to stay, what did they say? Like 15 feet away.
Yeah. And you can't drop anything on the ground. Although, I mean, Everyone falls.
Yeah.
There's no way of not falling.
Yeah.
Grandma just fell in the wrong spot on the rocks, but the snow is so deep, and if you step off the path, you could just fall into like 7 feet of snow.
Yeah. Again, it's very hard to get around.
Yeah.
But absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And then we went to, I think one of the cool things we went to was the one island that's the volcanic
Yes.
beach that had it erupted, right? And it had the fire that burnt down the Chilean station.
Yeah, so it was, I don't remember Deception Island, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe Deception Bay. I
think
don't
it's
know.
Deception Island.
But it's like a sunken in volcano, and I mean, it was still active to the extent like it's not going to erupt while we were there, but like there's still molten lava in it. It's not like frozen.
Yeah.
And they had like 3 research bases out there at the time, obviously now, and this was in the 60s. Obviously, they don't do that anymore because it's dangerous. And I think a lot of countries kind of ran out of the money and the want for the exploration that I feel like was so prevalent during the last century.
Yeah.
Like going like off topic a little bit, but like going down and you would just see, I'd be like, oh, like what base is that? And they're like, oh, it's been abandoned for years.
Yeah. And a lot of the abandoned buildings, what they do is they use them as a storage. They'll put they have these little huts where they would store extra supplies. So if someone gets stuck out there, I don't know who, it's got to be a researcher gets stuck out there, they have enough food and water and something to keep them warm enough until that they can be rescued from there. So
but on the volcanic island, we saw like the ruins of, I think, the Chilean base, that it literally was just like there was a crack in the molten lava or the crack in the crust. Not even of the volcanic circle, just like on the actual island itself, and started a huge eruption. Luckily, no one died. Like,
that was the crazy part.
No one died or was injured. I mean, besides like smoke inhalation damage, but like that was crazy because they were just telling the story of the Chilean base. There was like a Uruguayan base, but on the opposite side of the island, so they were able to get out rather successfully. And then the Chilean individuals, they had to hike all the way to the British base, like through volcanic ash, like in their bases, and everyone survived. It was like a 13-hour hike. But yeah, that was really cool because you're like, nowhere in Antarctica can be warm. And then you dig down a little bit there, you were allowed to, and just like feel the water there, and it's warm.
Yeah. It's like shocking. It's so interesting. And it's just literally a black sand beach. And obviously there's no snow covering anything in that area because it's all melted because of how hot it is.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Then the other thing that I thought was interesting was on some of the rock faces, it looked like you were seeing snow-covered rock, right? Or rock being exposed, but they said it's actually that there's ice over the rocks, so it makes it look like dirt, but it's actually just the ice. There's like so many layers of ice.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So it's just so cool down there, and like so much of it like will never be seen by humans, which I think is spectacular in some ways.
Yeah. And the colors of the glaciers were crazy, the blues and just the reflection of and depending on if it was cloudy or sunny, everything looked totally different. There was this one glacier that was like just this solid big green chunk of ice that was almost see-through. Like it was so cool. But it was again, every trip for me is life-changing. I mean, it was pretty cool that there's 3 generations of us on the trip. I think that was really awesome. Special. And I think Mom really liked it. Other than the fall.
Yeah.
But I think she had a great time with you guys, and I think she really enjoyed it. And the boat was beautiful. It was fun. Oh, well, let's talk the polar plunge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I told them when we signed up that for this trip, I was like, we are absolutely doing the polar plunge. And they were like, no. I was like, yes. This is the only time we're probably ever going to be. Not probably. This is the only time we're going to be in Antarctica, right? So
for sure. Well,
you got to do it.
Go back,
yeah, I know.
Years down the line, but yes.
Yeah, you can. So basically, they get you to line up. You come down wearing a robe and your bathing suit, and You basically walk out on the gangway and they put a belt around you tied to a rope because the water is very, very frigid. Obviously, there's icebergs in there. Okay, that's not us, but yeah, that's a good picture.
I don't know where our pictures are.
They haven't sent them yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a guy, a photographer for the boat, and we'll get a whole thing of them. But yeah, they had, so everybody was lined up and they're like cheering you on. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what am I doing to myself? This is crazy. And then you get there and it moves so fast because they have to get everybody in. And actually, right before right as they set it up, this massive whale swims by, like right next to the boat, like right next to the boat. And they have spotters around because the only thing, I mean, the whales aren't going to do anything to you, but the only thing that will are the leopard seals. Yes. And they're gonna eat you no matter what. So they have to have spotters for the leopard seals. I was like, oh, that's fun. So we're not worried about sharks, but we're worried about the leopard seals.
I don't think I saw a single fish actually while I was there.
No. I mean, in Chile, but not. Yeah. So basically, then we saw krill. That was pretty cool. So you jump off of this plank tied to the rope so that they can pull you in case your heart stops, and they pull you in fast. Yes. And they're like, go, 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 go. So like you can't stop. I mean, Olivia kind of did because she tripped. She tripped over the rope. I mean, that would have been bad if she just did a belly flop, but thankfully she recovered in time and did it again. Yeah.
And it was freezing. It was so cold that your body couldn't process how cold it was. Like it stung your skin.
Yeah. It was like you came out. I mean, the nice thing again, when you go in something so cold that the air actually feels warm on the outside. So when you get out, you feel pretty good, but your skin just like stung for like 15 minutes. I've never experienced that kind of cold before.
So cold.
Yeah. But it was really cool. And my mom sat up on the deck and she videoed us. And there's my mom. She sat up on so for those of you who are just listening to the podcast, we're putting up photos of us from the trip as we go through this. So, which was, again, so fun. And then from there, so we got off the boat. Again, we got really lucky, great weather, made it in, no problem. And then we flew back to Punta Arenas. We had a nice French dinner in Punta Arenas, which was so random, but it was still nice. And then we went to Santiago the next day and we toured around Santiago. It's a cool city.
Yeah, it's a huge city. Yeah. Biggest city I've ever seen. It's
huge. Yeah, everywhere we went, I was like, oh my gosh, there's another area. We went to the top, San Cristobal, I believe the mountain was called, and you could see it just was endless. Yeah, it was really cool though. And then we went. The last day we did something really fun was we did a cooking class, and I was thinking, okay, it's a cooking class, like we're gonna go to someone's like chef studio or whatever. That's totally what I thought it was gonna be. No, not at all. It was literally a guy who met us at the fish market. So our guides like drove us in because we went to Valparaiso and for the cooking class and then to go to the wine area. So he drives us in, they drive us in, and then we meet this guy at the fish market. And, it's kind of like random, like, okay, so now we're just going off with this guy. Yeah. Hope he's really the guy. And so we go to the fish market, and that was so cool. Yeah. There was like everything like that. I mean, I've been to fish markets before. I don't know why this one seemed so unique to me. Like,
the prices were
ridiculous.
I don't know. It was just
the way they had this. So they had like scallop ceviche, like not even scallop ceviche. They had like scallops like on a half shell, like already opened and waiting for you to eat one just while you're standing there. We ate some fish. I don't remember the name of it, but specific. You can only get it in Chile. It's only specific to Chile. Or you can only find it in the waters of Chile. I'm sure they ship it all over the world. But the cool thing was that, so you go to one stall to buy the fish. And of course, you got to just like take it all in because there's just these weird looking things everywhere. There were like mussels the size of my foot. Huh. Yeah. That's a good way to describe it, right?
Everything was, I don't even know. I think it was like, so not grotesque, but it was just so like, otherworldly, I guess, would be like, you don't get that here in the States like that. First, like the open air fish market's not like that.
No,
least.
I mean, there was definitely no hygiene happening there.
No, but everything is literally so fresh. And
Yeah.
it's not off these commercial fishing boats, or at least like my understanding, they're like tiny little things they go out there in.
They were tiny little boats that they take out there. I mean, they have them all lined up. They go out in the morning, they come back we were there at 11. They were all back in already. And they use these special hooks that they put sardines on. Sardines have to be fresh. So they're showing how they undo, like, it was like so old school. That's what made it really cool. And anyway, so we're standing there and then we buy the fish, then we take the fish over to the fish fillet person. So there's a person that their job is all day long. They fillet the fish. And now the person we happened to go to was the guy who's doing the cooking class, his wife. So his wife is filleting the fish for us. And she was cute. She was like full out in a conversation with another woman as she was cleaning her fish. And, she's just enjoying her day. And then he had us try raw fish, right, as he was doing it. And he took a piece from different parts of the fish. And every single piece tasted so differently.
It was so interesting. It was just like an experience that you would never normally get.
No, I don't think at Seattle Fish Market they're cutting pieces for you to try raw fish. I think that would be not okay. I don't know. Maybe they do, but I don't think so. And then right behind, so obviously it's on the water because it's a fish market. And so right behind there's a beach down there and it is full of sea lions.
No, they're fur seals. They're not sea lions.
Oh, fur seals.
Yes.
Okay. I said it wrong. Fur seals. And they were
huge, first of all. I feel
massive.
Like compared to the sea lions that I've seen in like San Diego or even just the seals we saw on the trip in Antarctica, these guys are like built.
And I don't know if it's because they get so much food. I mean, basically they just dump everything that they fillet, all the bones, the fish heads, they just dump it right back in there.
These guys don't
hunt. So they don't have to throw it away.
Apparently what they do hunt is actually the boats.
Yeah. They go after the boats. Yeah, that was a funny story too. But yeah, so I mean that was really cool to see. And then of course I went to look one more time at the fur seals and I got shit on by a gull.
Yeah.
Like
that was awesome.
All the way down my chest. Like it was and whatever. I just went with it. Yeah. I was like, can't really clean it up. And then we went back to this guy's hotel at the top of this hill. We had to ride a funicular up.
Well, it's cool because we had to do we did the public transport in the city as well, which is something you would never do as a tourist.
Yeah. We rode the bus. He bought us a ticket actually it was free. That day happened to be free on the bus. And then we went to a vegetable market too. So we got the vegetables that we needed. And then we got on the bus. We rode the bus. Then we got on a funicular that takes you up to the top of the area in Valparaiso. And it's beautiful up there. They call it the Museum in the Sky. So basically it's just, there's all kinds of
open air murals.
Yeah, open air murals painted on all the sides of these buildings up there. And we went into this guy's little hotel. He's got like I don't know, what do you say, 4 bedroom? Yeah, that he rents out. And then we just cooked in his kitchen. I mean, we did ceviche, so it wasn't like, and we cooked some fish for my mom because she doesn't like raw food. And it was so cool.
Yeah.
Like it was delicious. Nobody got sick. It was just like super fresh.
It was super fun too.
Yeah.
Like a great experience.
It was so unique, something like completely different. And then from there we went to a winery and tasted some wines that we brought a couple bottles back into the States with us. So
yeah,
so that was cool. And then we went to the airport and we literally flew home.
We didn't fly home. We flew to Miami.
Yep.
And then we drove directly to the second vacation. It was a family trip to the Caribbean. We did a cruise with like literally everybody.
Yeah. It was like literally we had suitcases in our trunk for warm weather. Because obviously for Antarctica, we had that little suitcase with just all of our cold weather stuff. And then we literally switched suitcases, arrived at Port Canaveral, got on the boat. And then we went on a Caribbean cruise for 8 days with the entire family.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
It was really fun.
Yeah. It was a huge boat. Like, it's not the biggest one because we did see that now the biggest one is the Icon of the Seas, but this is what's called the Wonder of the Seas. So it was the biggest boat until this one sails. And they said at the time there were 7,000 people on the boat because of it. It was over New Year's. And it didn't, like, I mean, it seemed busy, but it didn't seem that crazy.
I just feel like 7,000. Really? It was 7,000?
That's what they said because, like, I don't know.
I don't know either. But yeah, it was busy.
Yeah, I mean,
and they had a lot to do. I mean, it wasn't like there's like one restaurant where everyone's packed into.
No, there's just their main dining has 3 restaurants, 3 floors. And then there was multiple other restaurants, like specialty restaurants that you could go to, and stuff by the pool and bars everywhere. And then they had water slides and dry slides and a merry-go-round and ice skating and water shows and ice skating shows. I mean,
all the above.
They even had a sports bar. So we sat in there one day watching football games, and yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, the ports that we got off on were fabulous as well.
Yeah, we did. We rented catamarans twice and just went snorkeling and swimming. And so that was really pretty. I don't like, we always say that when we go to cities that have cruise ships, that they've been crucified, because obviously like everything is it changes the whole world there. And then everyone has the same shops and they're selling the same junk. And so we like to do something like
not
active.
On the land.
Not yet. Well, something like not shopping.
Yes.
So yeah, it turned out to be a really fun winter. I was gone for 3 weeks. I got back and I was like, oh my gosh, so nice to be in my own bed.
That's but now it's like my vacation's finally over, back to reality. Not willing to face it, but
yeah, it is back to reality. It's okay. Okay, so we're kind of like at a point where I should have done this earlier, but let's talk about something freaky in Florida, because there's always something freaky in Florida. So, and we've talked about like a few different health things. What did they find? Leprosy in Florida. I mean, we did talk about the highest rate of STDs at the
villages.
The villages, retirement home. So now the latest is these Florida monkeys could give you herpes.
I just didn't even know we had monkeys in Florida.
Well, I really didn't know that either.
Okay, cool. Just
here,
we're on the same page there.
Yeah, I was like, what? Oh, it's at Silver Springs State Park. Okay, so that's where Silver Springs is north, where you go. You can go tubing and stuff like that. Okay. So these monkeys, I can't even say what they are because I can't pronounce the name. So we're just going to call them these monkeys. Were originally brought to Florida by the manager of a glass bottom boat operation who released 6 on an island in the Silver River to attract tourists. However, the monkeys swam away from the island into the surrounding forest, breeding and increasing their numbers over the years. While the population of the monkeys in the Silver Springs State Park has reached as high as 400 at some points, trapping and removal efforts have kept them from getting out of hand. So they said there's about 190 in the park. So now they've moved all around. You can find them throughout the state. That's crazy. I really did not know we had these.
Yeah. What?
So,
okay.
Aside from the environmental concerns, these monkeys pose a threat to public health because they have tested positive for herpes B.
Bro, what?
Yeah, okay. The CDC states that the viral infection is extremely rare, but it can lead to severe brain damage or even death. The virus can be transmitted by these monkeys through bites, scratches, or contact with bodily fluids. Stay away from the monkeys. I mean, they're seeing them everywhere, actually.
There's one in Sarasota.
Oh, they saw one in Sarasota.
What the hell?
Don't go outside. There's a monkey in Sarasota. I know. Olivia does not like anything to do with apes, so especially if they have herpes.
I don't understand. What? Why have I never heard about there being monkeys?
I don't know. I didn't either, so I thought that was very interesting. But anyway, so don't go near the monkeys.
I wasn't planning on
Okay, but if you see one,
where it is now,
it's going to be in one of these. Yeah, the monkey's going to come get you. No, it's like probably in one of the state parks. So there's one hiding out. I don't know where people saw it, but yeah. But there's if you don't want to, just don't go up to Silver Springs if you really don't want to see them.
Yeah, jeez. What the
yeah,
heck?
They're going to give you herpes. They're going to jump on you, scratch you, and give you herpes. I
How
know.
do they even get herpes in the first place?
How do monkeys get all these weird
I
things?
don't know.
Right?
I don't know.
It is weird that they bring all these things to the game. It's like, what is happening?
Yeah, definitely not here for that.
Yeah. Do you want to jump right into your thing?
Yeah,
Because
I
since
can do mine.
I just kept talking about Antarctica, and so we didn't do our normal breaks.
Well, I just thought it was funny because this is the new year. Well, for New Year celebrations, we all have different traditions, and one of the big things in the States is dropping the ball.
Yes.
Not like metaphorically, like literally.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
Uh-huh.
And in Sarasota, we do a pineapple drop, I
Yeah.
think, still. So I just wanted to, the article that came up was around the country, there are different things that are dropped, not just the Times Square ball. So some examples include a duck decoy, a moon pie, and a pickle. Obviously, we have the pineapple drop here in Sarasota. I'm sure like every county in Florida does something different. The duck decoy is in Baltimore, or it's northwest of Baltimore, and they call them the place it is apparently the decoy capital of the world.
Huh.
Mount Olive Pickle Company, which is Mount Olive Pickle Company.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. They do a giant pickle in Mount Olive, North Carolina. I'm curious how big this giant pickle is. They don't say specifically, but for the moon pie in Mobile, Alabama, they do say that it's 600-pound, 12-foot tall electronic moon pie that drops.
That's pretty cool. I would want to see that one. I think I might want to see the pickle one too.
Yeah, and then in Flagstaff, this random couple.
Oh my gosh, look at the pickle.
Oh, that's huge. That is rather big. This couple in Flagstaff drops a plastic garbage can covered in pine cones. They just drop. That's weird. Okay. Oh, now the variation of the pine cone today is actually a 6-foot tall metallic pine cone.
Oh, okay.
But isn't that so interesting?
Yeah, I never thought about that before.
One of the wine countries does oversized grapes. And Seattle's kind of boring. Why would they include that one? They just do fireworks off the Space Needle. That's not dropping anything.
That's random. They drop a firework, I guess. Sure. I don't know.
But I think that's interesting. What everybody does.
Yeah. Definitely all these different kinds of things. So
yeah. My advice is never do the Times Square ball drop. You just wait in line with people that are wearing diapers.
Yeah, because you can't go to the bathroom. You have to wear a diaper. How weird is that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That is not on my bucket list.
No, not on mine at all. Actually, my bucket list is to never spend New Year's in New York City. So I'm doing pretty good so far. And when I'm moving out, I'm out. So
yeah, that's a true point. It's so weird that having not been here over New Year's, like I feel like I missed quite a few things.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, wait, I didn't do my end of the year stuff that I needed to do. Whoops. But yeah, I feel like it was weird being out of town for so long and leaving. Like usually if we go, like it's for like a week, but to do 2 trips back to back, it's pretty irrational, but it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing that again though.
Too much for me. New Year resolutions?
I don't believe in New Year's resolutions.
Neither do I. I just believe in starting stuff randomly.
Yeah, I think that
too much pressure.
I don't believe in them because people wait until New Year's to like do the thing that they've been thinking about for however many months. Why not just do it when you think of it?
No,
like, why do you have to put the date of January 1st? And that's why I think so many of them fail, because if you really wanted to do it, you would just start it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I believe in resolutions 100%. I just feel like
just start it in the moment.
Start it. Like, pick a date, any date. Say, okay, you know what? I want to, and this isn't me. I want to start working out 5 days a week. I don't want to. I have to, but I don't want to. And, just literally pick a date and start it. Because I think if you wait till January 1st each year, like you're just wasting the rest of the year.
I agree.
Yeah. And most New Year's resolutions fail within the first month, I think. It's like 78% of them fail or something. It's huge numbers.
I haven't even started mine yet, so.
Well, good. Maybe don't do a New Year's one.
Well, no, it's a semester one.
Oh, okay.
Because I need to keep myself occupied, so I'm reading.
Okay, that's right. You're reading. Well, you also have to still do good in school.
That's not a resolution. That's a fact.
True point. Anything else to say? We don't have a new calendar yet.
No,
I've got to buy you the calendar.
Thank you.
I'm going to send you the calendar so that we can get back to our plan. We'll see if it's any different this year.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean,
they change it up, but like to see if there's any better wisdom that there was last year. Yeah,
there's always wisdom to learn. Always things to share.
That's true. Well, we hope that you liked this. It's kind of fun, like when we do it together, right? Like, although if we had a real setup, she would be sitting on the other side of the table. But it is fun when she's here, and then we do our podcast together. But I don't know if we'll do another one together this year. Maybe this summer when you're back.
Okay, I'm sure we probably will.
Okay, we haven't done it that many times, anyways. But we are back. We are back in action. We will be back next week with another episode, and we will be good to go for a while.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our stories about Antarctica, and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Daughter Dearest podcast with Simone and Olivia Knego. We hope this episode has made your day just a little bit brighter and given you the inspiration you need to confidently go about your week. Always remember to be authentically you. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode, and feel free to connect with them on Instagram at Daughter Dearest Podcast, at Simone Knego, and at Olivia Knego. Till next time.